Good morning. My name is Sissy, and today I'm going to be demonstrating a packet tracer about configuring secure passwords in SSH. I'm a student here at OHHS High School, and I'm in the Internet Engineering class. So this lab is about SSH, and I'm just going to kind of show you the overview over here. So there's an addressing table, which is what you're supposed to configure a port to and the actual PC to. And it gives you a scenario. The network administrator has asked you to prepare RTA for deployment before it can be connected to network. Security measures must be enabled. So you have a list of requirements here, and I'm going to walk you through every step and completing them and explaining some of the details to you. So the first requirement is configure the IP addressing on the PCA, which is over here, which is the computer icon in the actual packet tracer. So you're just going to click that. And then you're going to go to desktop and IP configuration. So in some of the labs, you're not going to be given the IP address, but here it's the second one listed in the addressing table. So we're going to put in for the IP address 192.168.10.2, sorry. And the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. And for the default gateway, which would be the port on the router, is 192.168.10.1. And so we're just going to click out of that, and that's the first step. So you're at 15% already, and your goal is obviously to get to 100. And the second requirement is console into RTA for the terminal, from the terminal. So again, you're going to open up the PC, and then the third one in is terminal. You're going to click OK. And it says press return, so it's just enter. And it's asking for to configure the hostname. So to do that, you're going to type in the enable command. And it's going to take you into privileged exec, which is, it allows you to do a specific set of configurations. And from there, you're going to go to config T, which is configure terminal, and that's going to allow you to do more commands and to be able to configure the router more than you could in a previous privilege. And it's asking to change the hostname to RTA. So you're going to go hostname. The hostname command is hostname, and then whatever it's asking you to do, so RTA. And then you can see, oh, you have to type it right. So you're going to see right here that the hostname has been changed to RTA. And it says encrypt all plain text passwords. So for that, you're going to exit. Oh no, sorry, you're not going to exit global config. I mean config T. You're going to type in the command service password encryption. And with and that'll allow you to it's a basic security measure that you should do with most of your configuration. It allows it applies to passwords and in the configuration file. So like all that you're doing right here in these steps is what it will be encrypted. It's weak encryption, but it's just for a security measure. And right here it gives you the command just in case you don't remember, or if you're this is the first time you're doing it. And it says set a strong secret password of your choosing. So to do that, you're going to do enable secret, and that's and just for the sake of an example, I'm just going to do class, which is pretty much the default in most of the packet tracers that you're going to get from Cisco. And it says this next requirement is set the domain name, and a domain name is it converts numeric address into a recognizable name. So for example, this one, it wants to be set to rta.com instead of having say an IP address that a person might not easily remember. So it gives you the command right here. So you're going to have to be in config, and so you're going to go IP domain name rta.com. And that's going to set your and that's going to be required for to establish the SSH connection. So the next requirement is create a user of your choosing with a strong password. So you're going to stay in this privilege right here, and you're going to go username, and I'm going to put bulldog, and password OH tech with the capital OH and T. That is spelt wrong again. And that's your username to get into your SSH as well. And so it says generate a 1024-bit RSA key and an and to do that you're going to use the crypto key generate RSA right here. It's just right. So for that you're going to remain in this privilege, and you're going to go crypto key generate RSA, and it's going to ask how many bits in the modulus, and the crypto key is basically just an SSH key, so it's another security measure, and the modulus means that it's the size of the key, so it can range from 360 to 2048 bits, and the recommended is 1024, so I'm going to put that in. And the larger the modulus is, it means the more secure that it'll be. But if it's a larger modulus, it'll take longer to encrypt and decrypt. So the next step is to block anyone for 3 minutes who fails to log in after 4 attempts within a 2-minute period. So there's a command for that. It's login block -4 space and it says 3 minutes. It's going to be in seconds, so it's going to be 180 seconds. Attempts 4 within 120, so that means that anyone who tries to log in within 2 minutes or more than 4 attempts, they'll be unable to try again for 3 minutes. So that's good. And the next, that's not good? Okay. So let's just take login block 4. Whoa, okay, yeah. It's within. Sorry. And then the next requirement is configure the Vty lines for SSH access and use the local user profile for authentication. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what SSH is. It's a way to remotely establish a secure CLI connection virtually. So this is obviously what we're doing. We're doing it virtually through CLI, which is command line interface. So as opposed to being a GUI, which is graphical user interface, where you would have the icons and you would use more of your mouse instead of your keyboard. And SSH stands for Secure Shell. So as opposed to something that's very similar, which is Telnet, but Telnet is not as secure. And then console, which we have already on here, which is the blue connection between the PC and the router. That's the physical way to configure a router. So we're going to go ahead and configure the Vty lines, and the Vty lines are virtual terminal lines which allow for remote access to a device. So in this case we'll be remotely accessing the router, which is RTA, and to do that you have to be in configuration, this privilege with the config terminal. And then you're going to go line VTY 0 through 4. So there's actually 15, but in the purpose of the packet tracer, we're going 0 to 4. And it says transport input SSH, which is just, this command is just enabling inbound SSH, so it's allowing for the connection to actually be established. And then login local is just allowing a local user to access, to be permitted to do the SSH to the router, which in this case would be the PCA. And so you're just gonna Just gonna exit that, and you're done with that. So, and then the next step is to save the configuration. So you're gonna come to the # privilege, and you're gonna go copy startup config. No, sorry, that's wrong. Copy running config, startup config. So you're just going to enter twice after that. And that should be it for all the configuration for the CLI. So what we're in right now, which is the terminal, is using the physical connection, which is the console. And if you did this right, which hopefully I did, it says be prepared to demonstrate to your instructor that you have established SSH from PCA to RTA. So for that, we're going to go into command prompt, which is what will kind of enable the SSH. So for the command that you want to put in, you're going to put in, oh no, sorry, not yet. You're going to configure the port. You're going to configure the port that it asks you to configure on the addressing table. So you're going to enable, oh no, I'm already in enable, so you're going to go config T. And then there's, you're going to go to global config, and there's 2 of those. So there's 2 like sub modes of global config mode. And that in global config mode, any command that's issued in this mode affects the operation as a whole. So, and the 2 sub modes are line and interface, and in this one we use both. So as you saw before, we used the global config line to set the line VTY 0 through 4 right here, and now we're going to use the interface sub mode. So you're going to go interface gigabit Ethernet, which is the port that they ask you to configure. Zero, which is the specific port. There's several ports of gigabit Ethernet, but it's just asking for the one that is connected from the PCA to the router. So the router that the port that the console cable is connected to is gigabit Ethernet 00. And to configure the port, you have to have an IP address and a subnet. So the command for that is IP address. And you can see right here it's in config if, which means like interface. So you're going to put IP address, and the IP address is given right here. So 192.168.10.1, and right after you're going to put, with the space, you're going to put the subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0. And you're going to issue a no shutdown command, which allows the protocol to be, the state to be changed to up. And you are at 100% right now, but to demonstrate that you did it properly, you should be able to, from PCA to RTA, the router, you should be able to use command prompt to SSH into the router instead of having to go to terminal. And to do that, the command is SSH. And if it was telnet, you would use telnet, but since we're using SSH, it's SSH-L, and the -L allows, there's several types of SSH you can do, but this one is you log in with a username, which is what we configured, so we're going to use this command, and we're going to go admin, and the IP address given for the router, which is 192.168.10.1, and show you should be prompted to enter a password, and the password that we configured previously is the one I'm going to enter. So type it right maybe. Okay. Okay, so it says connection to 192.168 closed by foreign hosts. So you can, I just typed the password wrong. So you should should be able to see, you can see the password right here. So I'm gonna, and my username. So SSH1, so instead of admin, I'm gonna put, so I'm just gonna put admin, I'm gonna put bulldog with a capital B because that's what the username is, and I'm gonna put the IP address of, the gigabit Ethernet 00, and you should be prompted with a password, and you should maybe get it right this time. And so try to figure this. So I'm gonna go back to the terminal and see thing that I went wrong with the configuration. So username, dog, password with capital OHT, and IP domain name rt.com. So that should have worked. So I'm gonna try it again, even though I so this is the block for the login block against me right now. So usually you're able to go into you're able to SSH into the router, but right now it's not working for me. So it's gonna block me out for 3 minutes, and I'm just gonna go over this again. Maybe I'll just change the username, and so we go back into the big T config terminal, and we're just gonna put could be anything. I'm having a hard time. And then for my password, I'm gonna put Cisco just to play it safe. And obviously, if you're doing this, you're gonna want a better password because it's not working for me. So you're gonna go back into command prompt and find out, I suppose, my username, and then 192.168.10.1, and it's prompted me with a password, so I'm going to go with Cisco, and there it is. So yeah, hopefully that won't happen to you, but so now you can configure router from command prompt. Instead of having to have this physical connection, it'll be a virtual connection. And thank you for everyone who may have watched. All right, thank you.